Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Digital Soup. I am your host, Francisco Rodriguez. I've done it again. I don't know why I said Francisco. I'm Paco. And I am joined by the extraordinary Alan Kerr.
Hello! That's a lot to live up to. I'm not that extraordinary.
Well, yeah, okay. It's the mundane Alan Kerr. And the extravagant Lauren Immel.
Hey guys! Extravaganza!
That was like a kind of Mr. Hanky.
It was. That's very. I like it.
So, in the show, basically we'll be talking about the games that we played recently over the past week or so. Hopefully it'll be entertaining. Certainly, I'm going to enjoy it. I don't know about Laura and Alan. They're going to get sick of me before long. But, so the idea essentially is that we're not here to kind of give you breaking news. We're here to just kind of tell you about the games we've played, tell you what we liked about them, what we didn't like about them. We're going to start off just with a bit of a kind of history, what kind of gamers we are, like what games we've liked, that sort of thing. So I'm going to start that off by saying that I have been a gamer pretty much as long as I can remember. When I was a kid, my mum gave us a Commodore 364 with a Terminator 2 cartridge in it. And that's the first thing I can remember playing, though I'm not sure if I had a NES before that, Nintendo Entertainment System. I know people sometimes hate the abbreviation NES. What do you guys say? Do you say NES or?
I would say NES and SNES.
Yeah, and SNES, yeah. You don't need to bullshit around. Just call it.
I always said NES and SNES, but like it seems that these days that's frowned upon. Like people say NES and SNES.
That's too much time. Who's got time for all that?
Yeah, ain't no one got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Exactly, Paco. Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, I was a Nintendo kid growing up. Like I had the Commodore, which I'm sure was first, and then I had like a Nintendo, had a Super Nintendo, had an N64, had a GameCube, had a Wii, had all the handhelds, had a PlayStation 2, a PlayStation 3, I had an Xbox. In fact, I think the only consoles I can think of to date that I haven't owned are a Wii U and a Virtual Boy.
Did you have the Dreamcast?
I had a Dreamcast. I fucking loved the Dreamcast.
Oh my god, lucky bastard.
Didn't have a Saturn.
I didn't realise you had an original Xbox as well.
I did. I never really played it. Like I got it as a present. Like when the PS3 and that was already out and the 360 was already out. Like a bunch of mates kind of chipped in and I got us an old one with a bunch of games. But like I never really played it.
It's a pretty good present.
It was a good present. It was really good. And I played through like Halo 1 and 2 on it, and Jet Set Radio Future because like I loved Jet Set Radio from the Dreamcast. So that was, it was good kind of playing them. But like I didn't like play it anywhere near the extent that like I kind of play games now and kind of try different things with them, and, all that sort of stuff. So it was just for Halo, which is what Xbox pretty much is to me, all the way through.
Paco, you don't play games, you devour games. You dedicate like chunks of your life to games. That is just crazy.
Like, yeah,
Hardcore.
I play them a lot, certainly. But like most of the time, I'll finish a game, and then, well, since the 360 and the PlayStation added achievements and trophies, I'll also try and get trophies before moving on. Like yeah, I generally finish a game, then move on, and that's just the way I've been with things a lot. There's a few games that have hooked me and kind of kept me there for large chunks of time. One of which I was adamant to not talk too much about because you can fall into that trap of just bringing it up every week, and I don't want to do that.
We're definitely going to talk about Destiny. There's no getting around it. It's going to happen.
What is there to talk about though? Like
it's a really interesting release. Well, we'll get to that later on if we want to talk about it. But the whole like the release of it, what you thought it was going to be, and what it turned out being, and the kind of the reasons that the kind of stuff they've taken out of it, or the stuff they're holding back. It's all interesting, I think.
It is interesting, but like it's also 6 months old, so by now if you want to kind of have talked about that, then I'm sure you have done with your mates and stuff, and you've heard several different kind of like bigger news sites and stuff talking about the ins and outs of Destiny. Like, I don't really think there's a place to kind of go more in depth to it here.
That's true. That's true.
Unless something standout happens, like like maybe when the DLC comes out, talk a bit about how disappointing that is, because it will be. But other than that, like the Call of Duty games used to grab me. Like I think I played nothing but Modern Warfare 2 for that entire year that it was out. But like generally, as Laura said, like I do consume games. Like I go through them at a rapid pace. Like I dread to imagine how much money I've spent on it in the past couple of years. I mean, this week alone, I think I played like maybe 15 different games. I've completed like 5 or 6 of them in like 1 week. So plenty to talk about. But like when it comes to like the games that I like, I used to hate first-person shooters, but now like they became standard fare, I think, for everybody. And like they've kind of taken on board like a lot of traits of different genres anyway. So I do like the first-person shooters. I like racing games. I like RPGs. I'd say those are my 3 main ones. So that's what you're getting from me for an intro, a backlog of gaming. Who's next? Laura or Alan?
I'll go first. I'll go. Okay, well, I pretty much like Paco. I feel like I've been gaming quite a lot of my life. I'm a bit later to the party than Paco. I didn't have access to a NES, but I did have access to a SNES from my cousin, so I did play kind of the classics there. And my first console, my first beloved, was a green N64 with the trinity of N64 games. GoldenEye. Oh, right, go. Guess. What did I have? What did I have?
GoldenEye?
Yeah.
Mario 64?
Yeah.
And Mario Kart 64?
I got that later, but what else did I have?
Purely Ocarina, right?
Yay! And later on I got Mario Kart 64 and Star Fox 64 and Donkey Kong 64, which I think is a really underrated title. Like the platforming in that is superb. After playing through all of those games, I gave my heart to another. I got a PS1 for my Christmas, and my head just exploded with the wonder of analog sticks. Like dual analog sticks was like the biggest, rather than having in the middle like the N64 controller with the little buttons underneath, like double analog sticks, and like, oh, blew my mind. My favourites were Spyro the Dragon, the trilogy.
When the dual analog sticks came out, did you take to them instantly, or did you take a while to?
It took me. I was very unsure. Like I fear. Most gamers, we fear change. We don't like people fucking with our shit. So I was very much a D-pad, and then I kind of like would nudge the analog sticks a little bit and go, no, it's too sensitive. I don't like this. But eventually, I caved to the more responsive gaming experience via the analog sticks. And I started playing Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, like my beloved Spyro the Dragon. I love that series so much. The original trilogy, not the new pish. It's just shit. But the original trilogy was great. And then I got Crash Team Racing, which is obviously the Mario Kart clone, but it's so much fun. And then as I started to kind of get a wee bit older, I got Resi and terrified myself. And then I got PS2, so I got into I was very late to the JRPG party, so then I got a hold of my cousin's copy of Final Fantasy VII and took a week off school, sick, played the sickie because I needed to play this, and I completed it in a week, and I lost my shit. It was amazing. And just then I got Kingdom Hearts and all those kind of different, kind of weird, kind of, not indie games, but kind of off the beaten track games. I got introduced to that, and I did some racing games, Gran Turismo, did that. It was a bit really shit. I'm really shit at racing games, so I really don't like racing games all that much, unless it's Mario Kart, because Mario Kart is easy enough to win. And then I just got a PS3, my boyfriend, I shared a PS3 with him, PS4, and an Xbox. So that's my gaming journey. I'm kind of up to date. PS4, Sony all the way. did have a Wii for a short time, but Paco, I sold that to you because I played Twilight Princess and Mario Galaxy. That's all I was interested in.
Nothing.
Yeah, I know, you gave me 100 quid and I was like, okay, that's fine. And yeah, that's me. And I just found like Metal Gear through these guys, and it blew my mind. So that's my gaming journey. I'm really, really excited.
There's going to be a lot of Metal Gear chat later, I would imagine.
There's going to be lots of Metal Gear chat later.
I can't wait. I love talking about Metal Gear.
Hey, Alan, do you wanna say a bit about yourself to the group?
Yeah, like I don't think I've ever actually owned a Nintendo console. I first of all had a Mega Drive, or Genesis as it was known in the States. That was the first console I ever had, so I was much more into Sonic than Mario, just because I wasn't exposed to it. I've never played a Zelda game because I've never owned a Nintendo console. Yeah, I know. So yeah, like Sonic the Hedgehog, and other games that I think are like classics, but thinking back, they're probably terrible. Like Altered Beast, like that was just like a big game in my childhood.
It's like that is a terrible game to play now. Back in the day, that was excellent. It was good.
Yeah, I like that. And then I got a PlayStation 1 quite late into the cycle. I think I got a PlayStation 1 with Tekken 3 and Crash Bandicoot. Which when I was younger, I was much more into kind of 3D platformer games. But then I got an Xbox, the original Xbox. I don't know why this happened, but when I was younger, I knew that it was coming out, and I'd heard it was going to have a hard drive on, and I thought, okay, that sounds like the new step forward, like consoles without memory sticks. So I'm going to back this horse. So I got the first original Xbox on the opening day it came out with Halo. And up until that point, I'd never really been into Doom or Quake or GoldenEye or anything like that, and I wasn't really into first-person shooters. But everyone was saying Halo is the thing to get, so I got it, and yeah, they were totally right. The first Halo was amazing. I played that a lot, and I think that single-handedly got me into FPS games. I guess even now, like it's not like my game of choice. Like I'd never play Call of Duty games. I only like it if there's like a twist to it. Like I love the BioShock games, but they're just first-person shooters, and kind of only in the sounds stupid to say, they're only first-person shooters in the way you play them, like from first-person perspective with a gun. But they're a lot more than that. And I kind of stuck with Microsoft ever since. I'm much more on the Xbox side of things. Like I got a 360, maybe 3 years after the Xbox comes out, like everybody else, because no one stuck with the original Xbox for any great length of time. And yeah, the 360 was where I've done the majority of my video game playing over the years. I like Halo. I generally like third-person action games. Like I used to love Tomb Raider when I was younger. The GTA series I'm a big fan of. Basically anything Rockstar does, Red Dead. I'm not that well versed in RPGs, but Mass Effect is my favorite video game series of all time. Mass Effect 2 is my favorite game of all time. So yeah, third-person games are generally the way I go a bit more. And I've also got an Xbox One, which is sitting right there. Here's the controller for it right here. And what have I been playing recently? Only recently, in the last 6 months, have I been exposed to Metal Gear Solid, which is awesome.
Crazy awesome.
Yeah. So we'll look forward to talking about that later on. But yeah, I don't know. Like Laura, I'm no good at racing games, but if there's some sort of fun twist to it, like you can throw bananas at each other, then I'll be into that.
Right. I realise I didn't actually go into specifics at all about which games I like. The Metal Gear Solid series, since Metal Gear Solid 1, has been my favourite franchise in gaming. I think, I finished all those games so many times. I could probably tell you the script for the first 3 of them, word for word, probably.
And I believe that, Paco. I believe that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm well aware that they've got problems. They've got so much good stuff to cancel out the problems that it's all right. That they're crazy Japanese.
Since we're on this, can we start? I know Laura's playing through MGS4 for the first time at the moment. Can we start talking a bit about that?
I'm up for that. How much?
Yeah.
Stuff have you got, Laura?
I'm not too far at the moment. I am just on my first Beauty and the Beast boss battle with a Laughing Octopus, and I'm fucking shocking at this. Like, I don't know why I'm so bad. I've played them for so many years. I should know what I'm doing, but it's just, she's kicked my ass, man. It's fucking horrific.
It's a very different game.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not as sneaky as I'm used to. I'm used to being very slow and meticulous about my strategy, and in this one, although I am doing my very best to be as stealthy as possible. If somebody sees me, I just cap them. Like, I'm not messing about. Snake's too old for this shit. He's got stuff to do. So
I think in the second chapter, it gets a bit more traditional, kind of stealth based. I think, like, it's not out in the open. It's like you have to sneak past guards and stuff like that. Like the opening chapter is kind of just like a lot of running and gunning, or it can be if you want to play it that way.
It was the first time I played it. It certainly was like a run and gun kind of thing, and I was a bit disappointed that it didn't feel like a stealth game. And one of my friends, Daniel Matthews, as well, like he said as much. He was like, he only played it for like 4 or 5 hours, and it was like non-stop gunning and about 2 or 3 kind of car chase sequences kind of thing. And he is kind of right. But like, when I went back to play Metal Gear 4, like, for the 3rd or 4th time or 5th time or whatever it was, and you do spend as much of your time flat on the ground as you do in Metal Gear 3, taking it slow, making sure no one sees you. Like, they give you so many options to kind of stay out of sight. The game plays better if you are stealthy. It just has the difference between the first 3 games in it is that in Metal Gear 4, if you get caught, you can just kill people. It's quite a big difference, but
yeah, because I felt like when you're playing, say, like playing through 3, if you get caught, you are pretty much fucked. You can escape, but you have every single person in that area coming for you, and that you just have to pray that your camo selection is good enough, and you've picked the correct place, or you have your alligator head on and you're in the swamp. Other than that, you've got no hope of getting out. Whereas in Metal Gear 4, I'm trying my best not to kill as many. I don't want to kill many people, so I have my trank. I bought my trank pistol and my trank sniper rifle. So I'm trying to kind of clear the areas as easily as possible and just trank people, because I don't really want to. In Metal Gear 3, when you're dealing with the sorrow, I'm kind of wary that that's going to happen somewhere down the line. So I am just hedging my bets there,
Like, I played it like tranking people as well, not because like I wanted to get some sort of bonus at the end for like fewer number of people killed, but like, how often does a game like a shooting game give you like an incentive to deal with something in a non-violent way? Like, that never happened, and I thought that was so cool. Like, that I'm encouraged not to just go around murdering everybody I see.
Like, ethics aside, it's also more beneficial to trank people, because like, if you kill someone, and even if it's with a silenced weapon, and they get spotted by a different guard, then the alarm goes up. If you trank someone and they get spotted by a guard, they just get kicked away.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever played a game where it encourages you not to be violent.
And it does definitely, like, it pushes you in several different ways to kind of take the kind of non-violent route. Like, even, I mean, you say you don't want rewards at the end and stuff, but like, in order to get like the big boss medal, you need to do it no kills, no alerts, and that's in every game. Has always had that.
Yeah,
so,
I think maybe because of the way I've played them, like, so I don't actually play the first 2 games. Like, me and Paco are fans of the website Giant Bomb, and they were doing like a playthrough more or less of the first 2 games, and having never played them before, that's what got me into them, and that's how I learned about the story and stuff. But then there was a delay between 2 and 3, and I just couldn't wait, so Paco lent me his PlayStation and a copy of MGS3, and I fired through it in about a week, and then immediately went on to MGS4 and played through that. So I didn't have a lot of time to go back and kind of try and do as best I could. But I moved on to Ground Zeroes, and I've probably played that as much, if not more, than I played MGS3 and 4. And I'm trying, like, to do everything as stealthily as possible and get all the bonuses and all the secret tapes and everything. I'm really excited for the fifth one. I think it could be something special.
But that's like, I kind of wish I was in your shoes because like that game's probably going to come out this year, so like you don't have like a huge amount of time to wait. It feels like I've been waiting for the Phantom Pain for fucking decades.
Oh yeah, like when did Guns of the Patriots come out?
I think it must have been like 2000. It was 2009.
2008.
2008.
Yeah, and the trailer for Phantom Pain came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
the one with the child soldiers came out at least 2 years ago, and that just, Jesus Christ. And Paco, you've played a lot more of the handheld Metal Gear series, haven't you?
There has been Metal Gears, like there have been Metal Gears even after 4. Like Peace Walker came out. I think actually, see now I'm not really sure. No, yeah, Peace Walker came out after 4 definitely, but like I think it was like 2009, 2010 it came out. Maybe 2011 at a push. Like I'm not like, one thing I'm terrible with is dates. Like I don't know when anything comes out ever. Like I don't have a memory for that sort of thing. But yeah, like the Peace Walker stuff, I never played it on the PSP. Like when I bought the HD remake stuff, like I played it in that for the first time, and it was good. Like it took a while to kind of warm up, but like I was so used to Metal Gear being like a big kind of continuous story, and Peace Walker is not that. It's kind of bite-sized missions that take between 5 and 15 minutes each. So changing up the formula of it took a while for me to warm to it, but it was pretty decent.
But like the story of Peace Walker is like, I've not played it, but it's really important for going to MGS5, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like well, I mean, like only insofar as like a lot of the characters in Ground Zeroes and stuff are continuations of what happened in Peace Walker. But like, I think you could easily drop the Peace Walker story and not really kind of suffer too much in the grand schema of Metal Gear kind of things.
I guess Ground Zeroes did a good enough job being like, this is Paz, this is Chico, this is what you need to know.
Yeah, like essentially Peace Walker is just like exploring the idea of AIs as a nuclear deterrence kind of thing. It's a decent premise, but like the story's kind of weak in comparison to other Metal Gear games, I think. But like,
it seems like it has less story. Like,
yeah, it does. It does. Like Snake joins the Costa Rican.
Well, being that it's set after 4, so maybe don't talk about certain things.
It's Peace Walker is a sequel to 3.
Sorry. I mean, it comes out. There's stuff that you don't know about until you finish 4 that is apparent in Peace Walker. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I'm not going to waste it. Don't worry. But yeah, it's essentially like Snake helping a bunch of rebels get the CIA out of Costa Rica.
Okay.
And by Snake he means Big Boss.
Yeah, Big Boss. Yeah.
Big Boss. Yeah.
It's Paps. Cool.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's not like amazingly relevant. I don't think you need to have played it to play Ground Zeroes. Like,
yeah, well, I've not played it, and
Portable Ops is the only one I haven't finished. It's just too inaccessible. It's like it's only ever been released in the PSP. Like it's on the PlayStation Store and you can get it in the Vita now, but it's still just the same low definition PSP graphics, and it doesn't take advantage of the second analog stick. So it's like you have no control at all over the camera. Which, like, now that I'm kind of mentioned it, you don't have control of the camera in Metal Gear 1, 2, or 3 either. But they're from like a kind of top-down view. Portable Ops, for some reason, tries to act as if it's like a proper third-person shooter when it doesn't have the controls for it. So like I played that for like a couple hours, but then just got so pissed off with it that I couldn't continue. So like I mean, obviously I've read up on what happens in Portable Ops. Again, it doesn't seem to be too significant either. Kind of goes into Grey Fox's origin story, but like Kojima's came out and said that that's not canon, so it doesn't really matter.
Laura, you should really push through the Laughing Octopus battle because after that it gets much more like a traditional Metal Gear Solid game, I think.
Yeah, I've just I played it a couple of days ago, and I just needed a break. I was getting really, really angry with how incompetent I was at this battle. Because Metal Gear, I'm not amazing at it, but I can get through maybe like 3 tries max. I'm on like my 5th go, and I'm like, right, I can't. I need a break because she's pissing me off. And
I mean,
she's
like,
doing a-
There's tricks and stuff to it.
yeah. Do you know the theory behind how to beat the boss
yeah,
fight?
like I know how to do it. It's just she's rolling up in a little ball and like squashing me. And I'm like, I just can't. She's
That rolling ball got me a good few times as well.
just and like she's like, I'm using my night vision and I was originally trying to stealth to stamina kill her, and that was a bad choice. Just fucking wasted all my stun grenades and all my ammo for my stun pistol. So I was just like, fuck this bitch. She is dead because she's really annoying me. So I'm.
When it comes to those boss fights, actually, this is your first boss fight.
Yes.
I don't know if I want to give you this advice now.
Well, were you going to? I think you're going to say what I think you're going to say, in that you'll still get an opportunity to stealth kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
There are
just
2 stages to each boss fight.
Right. Okay.
First stage,
Right.
don't try and stealth them right away.
you can do it in the first stage, that doesn't matter. It's the second stage you need to stealth. Not stealth.
Yeah, try.
Stamina kill. Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay.
That'll kind of help a bit because some of the later bosses are absolute bastards if you're trying to kind of only use non-lethal stuff on them.
Okay. Good. I will. As soon as we're done, I will make another attempt because the bitch needs to die because she's really, really annoying. And like, even though this game came out in 2008, it still looks great. Like I think it looks fucking amazing. Like that was. I remember seeing demos of Metal Gear 4 and being like, how can they get any better? How can this PS3? I need to get one, and how can it be any better? And then thinking about The Last of Us, which was like the closing game of the PS3, the contrast, even though The Last of Us is significantly better graphics, I still think that Metal Gear 4 holds up. It's really, really fun to see old faces back, like Alcons in the airplane, and Snake's all old but still cranky, and Sonny, like Sonny's there, and I'm like, oh my god, Sonny, they have like a gay love child. This is great, and it just it's so much fun just moving back with old friends, and it's obviously from what I've played so far, it's a love letter to the fans. Like the fans, it's all about us, and just when Akiba gets introduced, and you're like, oh Akiba, what are you doing? And it's really cool, and just Liquid being there and just him just shouting brother at you, and you're just like, oh, did he come in the 9D? Of course he did. And it's really, really fun just to think of all these things that Kojima, the insane man that he is obviously thinking about that we have to put in. And just the 20-minute cutscenes is just like classic Kojima, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in. It's good fun.
I take it you know about the end of Metal Gear 4, like when it comes to cutscenes.
Oh yeah, I know the length. I know it's like a 2-hour cutscene, and I need to dedicate that time. I don't know what happens because I've been very good at not lieutenant up, but I know it's not for something that you play before you go to sleep, or you have to dedicate 2 hours to sit and watch, which is fine.
My memory in this was a bit hazy, but like as far as I remember, it's 2 90-minute cutscenes back to back.
Oh, fuck!
I don't think it's quite that long. It's pretty long, but I wouldn't say it's 3 hours long.
He finally got to make his movie. Awesome.
There's about a 90-minute cutscene, and then you get control of the character again for like a bit, and then it goes into like another 90-minute cutscene. Like I think that happens.
That's potentially, yeah. There's so many loading screens that break them up, and because I didn't play them all in one go, there's potentially yeah.
So as I said, like I'm not 100% in that one. Like I've played Metal Gear 4 maybe from start to finish about 5 or 6 times, So I've not played it anywhere near as much as the first three. Like, I remember thinking the first time after what you think is the ending, I think I finished it at like 1 o'clock in the morning and stupidly sat there until like I think it must have been at least 3 before I got to go to bed. So don't make that mistake, Laura.
No, I won't. I won't. I'll ensure that I have ample time to dedicate to the end of Snake's journey. So I'm really, really looking forward to it because he's my bro. So I need to sit down and dedicate this time.
You've got a lot of good stuff to go through in Metal Gear 4, though.
Like you guys will know. Like I'll be texting you like of like, oh my god, like whatever time I'm playing it at, as usual with any kind of game or television show that we're all watching or all playing, it'll just be a flurry of exclamations coming your way about everything that's going on. So I'm really excited and I'm upset with myself that I haven't played it sooner. But just other stuff got in the way, games and stuff that we're going to be talking about. So.
This is like the flip side of the coin for like when last year I hadn't played any Mass Effect games.
Yeah!
I bought 3 of them and played them all essentially like in the 1 month. Like I think I put like 140 hours into the trilogy in January last year.
Yeah. You sped through those games, man.
I took my time with them. Like I didn't like try and just finish them, you know, it was like I was exploring everywhere. I was doing all the dialogue trees, doing all the conversations, like enjoying it. And yeah, like, but I was sending you guys texts like constantly when stuff was happening and that.
You started like a specific Facebook page for us to talk about Mass Effect.
Yeah, because I was having like conversations with like 6 different groups of people. So I was like, this is going to be so much easier if I just make a Facebook page that I can then make one comment directed at everyone. Which it worked for the time.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited for the next Mass Effect?
Definitely.
Like.
Yeah, like.
But it's not going to be Shepard's story, so like Shepard's not the reason I love that universe. It's because of the amount of thought that goes into like all the characters and races and just history and all that stuff about it. It's just a universe that I want to spend more time in. So if you give me like another set of characters that are as well written as the ones we've had already, and just like a new adventure going, something maybe on a smaller scale, that would be good. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to just hang about with Turians and Quarians and go to the Citadel again. Like, I can't wait.
If they add actually, would you want them to add the ability to play as a different species other than human?
Like in theory, I would, but if that has a knock-on effect on like making the story less kind of like, if they have to make it a more kind of generic open story at the expense of, because it's going to be really different if I'm playing as like a Quarian to what it is if I'm playing as a Krogan. I can't have the exact same storyline with both those races really. So if they want to make me just to be a human, and then have all the other races get their part by my encounters with them, then I'm fine with that. But the idea of like an MMO or something in the Mass Effect universe where you get to pick your character and your race and your gender and all that would be cool.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened.
Yeah, that has surprised me that hasn't happened. But I think also another way of doing it would be being a new race to the universe, and you play as that race that's coming to join the intergalactic community. If it depends, like how far, if it's going after the events of the Reaper invade, like after the Reapers, or before the Reapers. It just depends on what is going to be the timeline there. But I think if you're a new race coming into the intergalactic community, I think that would be a good kind of framing device, because you could be like the way the humans got involved with the intergalactic community with Shang-Chi was kind of tension between you and the Turians, and you've got a Turian on board, although Garrus is totally cool with you and he's your bro, but the way other Turians react to you can kind of be a bit jaded, and the kind of Krogan Turian, the whole Krogan dynamic with all the different races, like the Turians and the Solarians, yes, Morden. That's quite fun. So maybe if you are a new race, and you have to you've done like your race has done something, or you're trying to be like a negative thing or a positive thing. That would be quite interesting to kind of integrate yourself into a new crew.
There's a theme here that you've actually kind of touched upon. I don't know if you've kind of noticed with your Mass Effect, and like it happens even before the first game of Mass Effect. So like, as you said there, the humans' introduction to this galactic society was their confrontation with the Turians.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Mass Effect 1, you've got a Turian on your ship, and like the Earth government are kind of really against that, and you're fighting the Geth.
Yep.
And in Mass Effect 2, you've got a Geth on your ship, and people are against that, and you're fighting the Collector.
Yep.
In Mass Effect 3, you've got a Collector on your ship, and you're fighting the Reapers.
You don't have a collector on your ship in Mass Effect 3.
Prothean on your ship. So it's more of a revenge thing?
Javik is a Collector.
He's a Prothean.
Prothean. He's not a collector.
That's the Collectors were Prothean, so that's...
Yeah, but he's not... but the Collectors aren't Prothean anymore. They're Collectors. They're different from...
Yeah. They're the same.
I get what you're getting at, yeah. It's a cool idea.
You're also saying there, maybe you're a new species and your species had done something.
Yeah.
In the next one, you are a Reaper.
Oh.
Nah, the Reapers are like, 10 stories tall. Like, how are you going to play as one of them?
But then you've also got like the little, I forget what they're called, man. The little zombie ones that run about that are kind of...
A husk?
No, a keeper.
And then, but like, what if, in the same way that, like, the Geth were just horrible crap robots, but then Legion comes out and, like, he's got a personality. Like, Legion was my favourite character, and then when he died, a bit of me died. In the same, like, Javik was a great character as well and stuff. Like, you don't have, because they were the bad guys the previous one, he doesn't need to be, like, a big towering, fucking spaceship. You could have him like almost like if it was like Star Trek, like taking a Borg out of the collective, like that idea.
I think a more likely thing would be a former Cerberus agent, maybe, who was previously indoctrinated, because then you can still have them being under the control of the Reapers and working for them, but not a giant space squid.
But Shepard controls, well, in my playthrough, Shepard now controls the Reapers, which is bollocks.
This is the problem. Like, I don't see how they can possibly set a game after Mass Effect 3.
Well, they can.
No matter what ending you picked, it's the same conclusion. All the Mass Effect relays are destroyed. Like, people get abandoned, and the Normandy ends up on like some kind of backwater planet, and then in the future, I'm going to get his bloody name wrong, I can't believe it.
Joker.
I want to say Buzz Aldrin, but I don't know if that... Yeah, it is Buzz Aldrin.
It's Buzz Aldrin, yeah.
It is Buzz Aldrin, you're right.
He narrates a little thing telling his kid about the legend of Shepard. So like, if it's like after that...
But the problem with that is that one of those endings involves everyone being merged with both biology and technology. Like, that's a pretty big change. How could they have that, like...
In that ending?
I forget how it was pre-patch and post-patch. I think in the second time round, there was it possible to have results where the relays didn't blow up, because like that was one of the things everyone was annoyed about, that everyone was seemingly stranded in the Milky Way galaxy with like...
Like, I only played it after the patch, and my understanding of it was that they only added one extra ending, and that ending was essentially you tell the kid to fuck off, and then he kills you.
They did add an extra ending, but they also tweaked some of the things within the existing endings and added to the existing endings, stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, they certainly did. They add to the other endings. Like, basically, when the original ending came out, everybody, well, not everybody, but quite a lot of people, myself included, were really angry. There were some decisions that were like completely illogical for your characters that you had spent over 100 hours playing with and relating to, and like Joker, why would Joker leave? He wouldn't leave, and all these kind of questions, and then they kind of just like shoved little tiny patches in of Joker turning up with your love interest, which was Garrus and mine. Like, I love you, Garrus. He's like, I love you, Shepard. And you're like, love you, Garrus. Gotta go and save the universe. And it's just such like shoehorned in, and you become a Reaper, and you rebuild the relays, and it's just so bad. And
yeah, like, the problems at the end of that game isn't something that could be fixed with like a small patch, because like the problem was that in the end it felt like none of your decisions really had that much of an impact.
Yeah.
Which is the big like for a game that's all about player choice and carrying your saves through over 3 games, like to have it be like ABC at the end, like they're not going to fix that with like a small patch.
And it was ABC at the end, and then the patch they brought out didn't even really change it, like in a good way.
Yeah.
Remember what you picked the first time you played it through?
Me?
Yeah.
The first time through I picked Control, which is the blue one, and the second time I picked the whatever Synergy or whatever it's called, the green one.
Yeah.
Neither of which I was like completely happy with, because like, you know, it's not what my Shepard would have done.
A little tangential story here as well, though. Like, I picked the 4th option. I didn't know, like, I didn't actually know which option you added in. But I picked the one where my Shepard turned to the kid and said, all these options are shit, you can go fuck yourself, we're going to fight to the death. And then it just kind of goes, yeah, Shepard died. Okay, fair enough. But that ending is also glitched. So, according to the trophies, I still haven't finished Mass Effect 3.
Did you just go on afterwards and just look up what the other endings were?
Yeah, like I went on YouTube and I saw all the complaints, and people who'd kind of cut together videos showed you the different endings, and they'd literally just changed the tint of the colour. It's just crazy. It's just such a cop-out ending for what could have been such a monumental conclusion to the great story.
Yeah, I mean the rest of the game I still think is great. It's just that last 15 minutes.
Yeah, I still really enjoyed it. I did. I think though, like out of the entire trilogy, my favourite moment in the whole thing happens in Mass Effect 1.
Which is what?
The moment where you're in Vermeer and you talk to Sovereign for the first time.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah.
That conversation is the best part of the entire trilogy, I think.
Like going back and watching that conversation, having played 2 and 3, it's amazing like how much he kind of spells out in that. Like he says like, this is the plot of the next 2 games, like this is why we're here, like, and you're going to have to fight us. And you don't really realise the severity of it at the time, but it's really cool that they lay it out like that.
Even like at that point, just the fact that you think it's just a Saren's ship.
Yeah. Just one guy on one ship, yeah.
That's the thing pulling the strings, like that. I thought it was a great moment. Absolutely excellent. I had goosebumps at that point.
I don't know, best moment from the whole trilogy. It's kind of hard to beat the suicide mission at the end of 2. Like, just like total edge of your seat, like wondering whether or not you've upgraded the shields of your ship enough. You know, if you don't, you know, Ashley's going to take a laser to the face, and wondering if you've sent the right biotic along to like shield the rest of them. Oh, it was gripping.
I thought the structure of Mass Effect 2 was a bit too cut and dry for that sort of thing, though, because like every character had an option where you can talk to them and they'll tell you to upgrade a part of the ship. And if you do that, then they live, as long as you've got the loyalty, I think it is.
It's slightly more to it than that. Like there are little things, like depending on when you do things or your relationship with certain people, and even stuff you do in like the first game, like can affect it in some ways, like whether or not you got Rex's Krogan body armor or something like that. Yeah, there is more to it than that.
The way I play games though is like any point where I can progress the story, I don't. I do all the side stuff first, and then progress the story.
That led to me losing somebody.
How?
Because it got to a point where it was like, we've got the Reaper IFF. We can go through the mass relay now, or we can hang back and just make sure everything is good before we go. So I was like, okay, well, I'll definitely do that. And I went around one last time. I talked to everybody, and then by the time I got there, poor Kelly Chambers was liquidated in the chamber because it took too long to get there.
I think I saved her. I'm pretty sure I saved her.
I lost Kelly. Dr. Shackwaz made it, but Kelly was a goner.
Now that you've said it, I actually can't remember if she lived or not in my one. Because I remember that sequence. The Doctor made it in mine as well.
Yeah, because I saw Kelly die and Shackwaz was right next to her, and I thought, don't do this to me. Like,
yeah, it was like that's like one of the things that did really well. Like when Mass Effect 3 starts, and you're talking to the Doctor, and you're like, you've been here since the first game, and like it just feels like I actually know you. But the video game character is just weird. It's good.
yeah, totally. And like I felt that way like when Liara popped up in 2. It's like I've just spent so much time with this person, and they're not a main character in this game, but it's like seeing an old friend.
Yeah. I mean, like at the moment when you realise that Archangel is Garrus.
Oh, so good.
I actually shouted out Garrus as if like I'd just seen a friend for the first time in a while.
Yes.
Even though like I'd literally just finished the first game like the day before. But yeah, that's a good trilogy. Like if you anyone watching this hasn't played the Mass Effect trilogy, I would imagine if you're even watching this that you like video games, go fucking play Mass Effect.
Definitely.
So what have you guys been playing more recently?
Ground Zeroes, which we kind of talked a bit about. Like, yeah, people complain that it's like you can finish it in 20 minutes or whatever. But like, the package as a whole, like the first time through playing it, if you're playing it kind of, if you're paying attention and try to do well at it lasts about like an hour and a half. The main storyline.
Yeah, it took me about an hour and a half.
And then you can go back and do it again in like 20 minutes if you're good at it. But there's so much extra stuff in the game. Like the side ops are really enjoyable. It gives you so many different options for how you want to carry it out, and it has them both on like 2 different difficulty levels, which you get different unlocks for all that stuff. I think like for the price of it, I think it's a really good package, and it serves as a good whetting of the appetite for Phantom Pain.
But you bought that when it's reduced though.
Yeah, I think it's only $20 now.
If you were to buy it when it was released for, I think it was 30 quid for like the Xbox One and PS4 version, do you think it would have been worth that much?
No, that's a little bit closer to full retail price, and also at that time, I wouldn't have fully been aware of the criticisms of it's only 20 minutes whatever. So that would have stung a bit more. But knowing what people were saying about it and how much I paid for it, I thought it was absolutely worth it.
I've bought it twice already.
Did you buy it on PS3 as well?
I bought it in the PS4 when it first came out, and then I gave my copy to a friend, and then I saw it on sale on the PS3, and I really wanted to play it again and wanted to see what the difference was, so I just bought it again on the PS3. And now that I've got the Xbox One, one of the first things I did was check in the store to see how much Ground Zeroes was.
Are you going to buy it again?
I'm thinking about it.
No, Paco, no.
It's a good looking game though as well, isn't it?
It's Metal Gear, it's achievements, and like I played so much of the PS4 one that like it'd be a good indicator to kind of see the difference between the consoles if there is one.
I think it looks great as well. Like, just graphically, it looks really good.
Though, like surprisingly, it still looks really good in the PS3 as well. Like the difference in the PS3 wasn't so much with the graphics; like they were a bit worse, but it was more with like the draw distance and stuff like that, and the texture popping. So it's like in the PS4 one, like if you're at like the starting position in the Ground Zeroes map, and you like look across to the other side of the map, you can see the guards pretty much instantly. Like sometimes they take a wee while to kind of fade in. Like on the PS3 one, you just can't see them at all. And like if you swing the binoculars by, then it takes a good couple of seconds for the actual character to appear in the PS3 one. The same with like the plants and stuff. Like plants don't appear until you're like right next to them in the PS3 version. So
yeah. I think other than that, like what we've been playing, the IDARB, which is a lot of fun. Last night I had my best 1-on-1 game of IDARB that I ever had. We were really close. Like me and him were like, I won by like only 2 points. It was like 32-30, and it was a really. So IDARB, right? IDARB. Imagine it's like a football pitch, like as if you're looking at it from the top down, right?
Okay.
But it has like platforms, like raising up like that. So you're little guys here, and you both start out, and you have to run to the middle and catch a ball, and then run to the other side and put it in a goal. But it's all like vertical platforms you have to jump up on, and that's kind of all it is really. But it's really fast paced. That you can have up to 8 players, and the kind of hook with it is that all the games can be streamed out to Twitch, and anyone watching can send a hashtag to like whatever the thing is up the top with what are called hash bombs that change like the gameplay. So it'll like turn off the lights, or like make everything spin round, or like make everything look like a clown car or whatever. Like just really fun little things. It's really fast paced, quick 2-player point scoring game, but it's really fun.
So the way I would describe it is like if you remember the original Mario on the Atari. Do you remember that far back? No.
No.
It's like, they've had it like there's bonus rounds and stuff in other Mario games where it's like it's one screen with a bunch of platforms on it with a POW box in the middle, and like enemies come along from the top and you need to like jump underneath them to kind of make them upside down and go up and hit them. You guys never played that? Like
Nope.
like a fucking long time ago. I mean, like that must have been before the NES. I'm sure it was on the Atari. But yeah, like it's like that. It's like a side-on platform, a 2D platformer, but it's football at the same time.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to explain.
Do you remember Rayman Legends Kung Fu? Never played that?
Yeah.
Is it as good as the Rayman Legends Kung Fu?
It's like a more fleshed out version of that.
Right. Okay.
Speaking of that, Paco, the Games with Gold for March on Xbox One is Rayman Legends.
You need to play it. You need to.
Yeah, I don't own it, so I'm pretty excited about that. And also on Xbox 360, I know this was out for a while ago on the PS3, but it's Tomb Raider and Bioshock Infinite, which again are 2 great games if you don't have them.
They've been on PS Plus already.
Yeah, they have.
Already on them. But yeah, like Rayman Legends, like I played that every day, literally every day for a year on the Vita to get a trophy. I got the Platinum trophy on it. And then after finishing it in the Vita, I still wanted to continue playing it, so I bought it in the PS3.
Well, you're going to get it for free next month again, so.
I have thought once or twice about buying it in the PS4, and I was like, that's overkill. So now, the Xbox One, so that's good. Like I'm actually looking forward to that. Like they've got like a daily challenge or a weekly challenge thing. Like one of the modes in it is called the Infinite Tower, where all you're doing is like platforming like infinitely up the way, and it's a lot of fun. It's really really fun. So
I think the only other thing I've played semi recently was Assassin's Creed Unity, which I played a couple of months ago, and isn't as bad as people say. It's better than 3. But I haven't said that I played it after it was like patched to fuck, so it was probably a lot worse when it first came out. But I thought it was okay.
What's your standing with Assassin's Creed games? Like, do you generally enjoy them?
I play them. I really liked 2 and Brotherhood and 4, and I don't know. I think I come to them more because I appreciate that they're games that are set in a setting and type of characters and stuff that you just don't get anywhere else. Like you're never going to get like a fully realized version of like historical France, and it looks really nice, and that's a big part of what draws me in. Like the story is never really that appealing to me. The combat, I suppose, is fun when it works, but Chica is something quite unique, is what brings me back to it. But there's a lot of stuff to dislike about Unity, like all the microtransaction stuff and the attempted like the iPhone apps and the websites and stuff that just do not work. Like I think hopefully after this Ubisoft take a step back and think, okay, maybe we should just make a core game that works instead of all this add-on bullshit.
What about yourself, Laura? Are you into Assassin's Creed?
Well, I'm pretty much on the same kind of boat as Alan. Like I didn't play 1. I kind of kicked off my Assassin's Creed journey in 2. Loved 2. Like 2 was a bit glitchy and stuff, but I could forgive it because Ezio was so charming, and running about like Venice was really really cool, and all the different Italian cities. and the free running was relatively okay. Combat was fun. The story was probably the best story out of the series. And then I played Brotherhood, which is more of the same. I didn't play Revelations. I didn't get there. And then I got number 3 on PlayStation Plus. I am so thankful that I have never paid for that game. That is possibly the worst game I've played on the PS3. It's so boring. It just, like, you're in... I think it was a mistake to go to the New World. I think there's not enough... it's a developing country, so there's not enough verticalness, so you can't free run about. That's kind of the core part of Assassin's Creed, is you free running, escaping, exploring, jumping from rooftop to rooftop. But because it's so, like, 3 stories is maybe as high as it'll go. There isn't much scope for different kills and stuff like that, and the main character is so boring. I can't even remember his name. Because
Connor, yeah.
Connor, right. You have a kind of cool, a kind of interesting concept of, like, a Templar falling in love with a Native American woman, giving birth to a son, Connor, abandoning him, and his mother dies, and then the tribe raise him, and then the tribe gets attacked by the Templars, and he goes to joins the Assassins in order to save his tribe. That's pretty interesting. Like, that's cool. There's a whole kind of range of emotions and, like, kind of scenarios that could play out there, but there's nothing of consequence that happens. Like, you've run into kind of Benjamin Franklin, and he's like, "Oh, look, I've got the kite and the key," and the lightning thing happens, and you're like, "All right, cool." Maybe it's because I don't know much about American history that it didn't really make an impact. And there's a couple of cool sequences where there's, like, a siege on a really, really famous battle against the Americans and the British, and that's quite cool. You're running through, like, cannon fire and stuff. That's probably the only good sequence. I thought that there is another sequence in it where you meet your father, who is a Templar, and you think there's going to be a big confrontation because he basically, like, the Templars killed your mum, and he's an arsehole. So you want Connor to be like, "You're a fucking dick," and, like, you need to confront this guy, but he just kind of goes, "All right, we're cool, yeah, we're good," and they help each other, and then they speak nothing of it. And the ending is really, really bad, and, like, it's just bad. And number 4 is my first kind of purchase on the PS4. And it's good fun. Like, Edward Conway is pretty swashbuckling, and being a Welsh rogue in the Caribbean, get drunk and be a pirate. The best part of that game is you being on your boat, your ship, sorry, excuse me, and you're cruising sea shanties, and that's all good fun. The ending of that is probably, like, it's like, what a twist! It's like, that's really good fun. But I don't want to play Uni. I don't care. I want Japan. Give me Japan, and I will play it. But I don't have any more investment because it's just the same fucking hide in a haystack, stabby, run away.
That's it.
That's it. Like, there's nothing unless, and then you've got the whole sci-fi element of it, and then you got the future element with, like, future Desmond, and then Desmond's no longer there, but you're using his body, and the Apple of Eden, they're aliens. Like, what? What is going on? Like, I don't.
All that stuff is almost non-existent in Unity. Like, it hardly ever comes up at all. Like, one thing Unity does well is that the kind of mission structure is a lot better, and that maybe there's, like, 1 or 2 kind of small missions where you're kind of collecting information and stuff, but they all kind of lead up to these. In the same way that you know one, or you've not played one, but did you play the first one, Paco?
I've only played Assassin's Creed 2.
Alright, cool. Well, the first one isn't great. It's totally just kind of a blueprint for what it will later become. But all the missions were kind of like maybe 5 missions leading up, like, collect this thing, go and speak to this person, and it would all lead up to this, like, assassination, where you go to a certain place and have to take out this certain guy. Unity does a similar thing, except it feels more natural, and, like, you kind of just walk in to a building and someone will be like, "Okay, follow me," and there'll be kind of like no loading times of going between, like, different missions. It'll all, like, kind of merge into one big kind of thing, and then it'll lead into, like, a big kind of open combat area where it'll be like, "Okay, you need to go and kill that guy," but it won't necessarily tell you there's one specific way to do it. It'll be like, you know, there's these guys over here, maybe they could help you, or like, oh, there's some shifty looking guys over there. What's that all about? And you have to just work out what's the best way to do it. Like if they took that idea and made it like, like they always say Halo is like a combat puzzle, and that you have to kind of work out the best way to play it. That Assassin's Creed Unity is kind of a wee bit like that, and that it gives you like a certain amount of freedom in how you want to go about the assassination. It doesn't go the whole way because there's always the opportunity just to walk straight through and just stab a guy, and there's like no excitement to that at all. So
I've never heard of Halo being referred to as a combat puzzle before, but that absolutely works.
Yeah, I think that's what separates it from the usual kind of FPSs, because it has like quite good AI and stuff, and like a lot of different options.
Like Assassin's Creed to me has always been one of those games that I just thought it looked boring, and everybody went on about how Assassin's Creed 2 is the best one. So like when it was free on Xbox, like was that a year or 2 years ago? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's about 2 years ago, yeah.
I thought I'd give it a try, and I played it for about 10 hours, and like there's parts of it I kind of enjoy. Like I think the premise for it, like the sci-fi premise for it that I did not know was there, like and both in terms of, I knew you were going into the past of your ancestors' memories, like so that I kind of knew it had that element of sci-fi, but I didn't realise there was this whole fucking crazy alien subplot going on. I really enjoyed that. Like I thought that was one of the better bits, and like trying to solve all the puzzles without using the internet was actually pretty decent as well. Like I did cheat a few times as opposed to I just couldn't get the answers. But ultimately I just got bored of it. I didn't even finish it. Like games where all you do is mash square to win are the kind of games I like the least. And Assassin's Creed is definitely one of those.
Although I'd say like I do quite like the franchise, it is really boring at times, just doing the same stuff over and over again, and just storylines that I have no context for. Like I don't really know much about history, and it tries to like deliver that stuff. Like a lot of it's through like text codex and stuff like that, but it's just kind of a lot of it goes over my head, and I just don't find it interesting.
Fair enough. But like, have you played Unity with people online?
Yeah. But I think that only works at its best if you're playing with people that you know and that you're talking to, because without that, the times I've played it, it's just like multiple people doing their own solo missions. Like we didn't really ever work together, it seems cool in concept, but I didn't have anyone else to play with that I knew, and we could kind of actually talk and strategize, I suppose.
Well, sorry to tell you, Alan, but I won't be buying that. So you're gonna have to remain playing it with the unwashed.
I'll never play it again.
Fair enough. You also played Chariot, though.
I did, yeah. Did you see that, did you?
I did.
Yeah, just because my girlfriend was around earlier on, and she was asking about, because I recently got a second controller from Xbox, she was asking what 2 player games I had, and that was one of them. It's just a kind of fun little platform puzzler, like a 2D puzzle platform. He plays one or two little. The premise is that the king has died, and his ghost demands like the most extravagant chariot to be buried in. And so you bring him one, he's like, no, it doesn't have enough jewels. So you basically have to go around the world collecting jewels to adorn his chariot with, and the little ghost follows you about all the time. He's quite lippy and sarcastic. It's quite funny. It's quite well written. It's good has good physics to it that kind of work in ways that you don't expect.
Using your weight as leverage and stuff to.
Yeah, a lot of stuff like that. It's fun. It was a free on Xbox Gold, so it's kind of hard to complain about a free game. It's a good fun little 2-player game.
Yeah. You played anything, Laura?
I dabbled in a little bit of one of the free PS4 PS Plus games this month of Transistor, it's called. And I was talking to Alan before we started, and he was saying the guys that made Bastion make this. And I've never played Bastion, but I have seen a little bit of footage from it and screenshots, and the art style is pretty similar. It's a kind of hack and slash real time strategy game where I've no idea what's going on. Like, I just started it last night. I played it for maybe 2 hours last night, and it just opens up, and the first scene is you're pulling out a sword from a guy's chest, and the sword talks to you, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I don't even know. And it's all kind of cel-shaded, and it's really, really beautiful. It's gorgeous. And you have to... I'm currently just exploring the world, and there's quite a lot of robots that you have to fight against, and you can pause time and kind of map out your attacks. The kind of control system's really, really well, it's got a flow, it's very natural. You can either decide to map out your attacks by pausing the game, or you can just kind of go and hack and slash and kill as many robots as possible. For what I have got...
Hack and slash, you're doing it wrong.
If I'm playing a hack and slash, I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I've mostly chosen to do the real-time strategy element because it seems like you can link all your attacks. On the top bar, there's you get a kind of limited amount of turn, and you can different attacks take up percentages of your turn, and when your bar's full, you let go of the pause button, and it carries out the attacks. From what I have gathered, you're walking through the environment, and there's bodies on the floor, and you can absorb people's personalities into your sword, which gives you different attacks. And you play the character of Red, who is a singer, and from what I've gathered so far, there is a kind of overseeing church/cult that you are fighting against. You're rebelling against the kind of powers that be, and they disagree with you, and they know that you're trying to overthrow them, so they attack you, and this guy jumps in front of your sword and gets stabbed. So you take the sword which he was stabbed with, which absorbs him, and he talks to you, and you kill robots, and you kill the minions of this overarching government, and it seems really fun. I like the fact that you're not told anything when you start. You're thrown in, you pull the sword out of this guy's chest, and you go and do things. And you're kind of piecing together through the environment. There's little terminals. You can read logs and interact with the logs, and your sword talks to you about the different options, and you interact, and you kind of learn through the terminals and your kind of actions of how the world is. And it's really, really interesting. I would really like to play Bastion if it's kind of on the same vein as Transistor. It seems like it's kind of up my street. I would never have picked this game if it wasn't free. Like, I would never have bought it, but it's really, really, it's beautiful. The combat's great. The sound design is fantastic. Like, from the speaker of your PS4, the sword talks to you, it gives you hints and tips, and it's really fun. Yeah, it's hardly right.
Like the sword talking to you through the controller, whilst all the rest of the sound coming out the TV, is a gimmicky thing, but it's really fucking good. Like, it works really well, and it feels really more. It feels a lot more personal as well. It does feel like the guy's talking to you because it's like such a localized thing in the room. I bought Transistor day one, and I loved it. It was really good. I played it all the way through. I've only played it through once though. Like, I did mean to go back through it again. And as you kind of hinted at, like, it doesn't have like a conventional narrative. It doesn't just kind of have info dumps or cutscenes to explain what's going on. Instead, it's like you get like little hints here and there, but for the most part, and like, I've never seen another game do this. Like, I thought it was really interesting. For the most part, to get the narrative, all those people that you're absorbing into the sword, you can equip them to like different functions of the sword.
Yes.
Right? Three different, there's like passive, active, and support, I think, are the three different types.
Yeah.
So if you put those people in each type of slot, you unlock a different piece of narrative each time you do it.
Oh wow, that sounds cool.
So like, if you go into like your menu for activating it, like if you look at the actual functions, I think they're called, like if you press triangle on them, you'll get like a big bit of narrative kind of telling you their place in the society that's now kind of crumbling, and why the cult kind of paid attention to them in the first place. So that's it's all quite interesting. But it's not like it's not a long game, but it's enjoyable. Bastion's also coming to the PS4. So
cool.
I'm not sure when that's going to be released, but they were talking about that maybe 4 or 5 months ago, they mentioned that Bastion's coming to PS4 and Vita.
Bastion's awesome.
I've never played it, like, but I love Transistor, so I'll give Bastion a shot. I know that you mentioned earlier that like we're big fans of Giant Bomb. I've been listening to all the older ones because I only got into Giant Bomb like this year, and the amount of times that Jeff references Bastion is unbelievable.
Yeah, because it's one of the guys that is like kind of the lead designer or whatever on Bastion used to work with them at GameSpot, so
Right.
they kind of followed close to like the process, like the development of that game. They have a series on the website called Building the Bastion, which is they basically gave Greg Kasavin, who's the guy who's in charge of the game, they gave him a video camera and said like document the footage of like you making this game and give it back to us and we'll put it up on the site. It's a really cool insight into how to make a game.
In which case I'll be looking for that pretty shortly. But Transistor, I really enjoyed it. Like, but absolutely use it more. Like, whenever you get into a fight, always use that thing where you can pause it and map out your moves. And like, absolutely experiment with all the functions and stuff as well. Like at one, I forget, I can't remember the names of the things, but there's one of the functions is essentially you get to spawn a little dog that helps you.
Whoa.
So he attacks people as well, but then like because you can equip stuff onto that function, there's like another one called split, so you can make it so you've got two dogs. So now you're talking about you having a turn and both your dogs having a turn to attack.
Right, okay. So doubles attack power then, yeah. Alright, cool.
The combat system in that game it's got a lot of depth, a lot more depth to it than you might think when you first pick it up. It definitely gets better as it goes along. And the whole feel, the atmosphere of that game is absolutely excellent. It's really good. Have you played anything else?
I am kind of trudging through The Walking Dead season 2. I've just started the second ep. I stupidly deleted my save from the second season when I started it, so I had to start again. And I loved the first season. Like Lee and Clem, amazing. And I've played The Wolf Among Us, which is the kind of sister, kind of same theme, different story of the Fables franchise, which you guys know I love Fables. And I completed the first step again the other day, and I was just like, shit, I need to make all these choices again, and it's just too much. It's heart-wrenching that you have to, you know that some of these people are going to die, and Clem is such a badass now. Like, she was a complete contrast from when she was like with Lee and the kind of little girl that you want to protect, and now she's grown up and she has to fend for herself, and she don't take no shit. I love that. I love that part, and I'm excited to kind of continue on. I hope the moments in the second season can match the kind of points, the high points of the story in the first season, because there was some good moments there.
Not to burst your bubble, but the second season doesn't live up to, I think. Like, it's still good. It just never reaches the same peak. You played it as well, Alan, didn't you?
Yeah, you're right. It's good, but it's not as good as the first season is. Like, I don't know, like, because it's not fresh and new again. Like, it's hard to. You don't have that central relationship between Clem and Lee, which was like part of what made it so good. Big decision? Did you sit next to Lucas or Kenny? Me? That wouldn't have happened yet.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, never mind.
Well, the bit that I'm at just now, that I've just finished from episode 1, was they're at the river and Clem finds her backpack and she's like, "That's my backpack." Those are the guys. So who did I go with? So I kind of went with the older guy, and the nephew was on the other side. So I'm like, oh no, you're gonna die! Like, it sucks because they're like from playing the second episode, like half of the second episode, and I stopped, and then I stupidly deleted my save. I kind of know what happens to the older guy, and I'm like, why did I pick him? Like, why did I pick him? So I'm kind of stuck with him.
I still think you made the right decision. The young guy's an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I'm glad you didn't really hear what I said as well, though. Don't listen back to this.
It's okay. I didn't really hear, so I'm glad that I don't have to. I don't know what's coming, and I really, really want to download the Game of Thrones Telltale and the Borderlands Telltale games, because they are two universes, like Game of Thrones and Borderlands especially. It's just so much fun on its own, like in its own merit. So I think I'm interested to see what that's going to add to that universe, because I really want to play the new Borderlands game, the one on the moon with you play as Claptrap, which Claptrap's really fun, and I really enjoy the kind of combat system with Borderlands, and just the whole kind of design of Borderlands is great, and I would love to play it with actual other people, because I've only played it myself, to see how the difficulty goes up. So I would really like to play that and play it online and stuff. It's really fun.
Borderlands, I don't have much interest in the tales of the Borderlands. Like I played Wolf Among Us, which I thought was excellent as well. And I've also got the Game of Thrones ones, and I wasn't expecting much from the Game of Thrones one, but like minutes into it, it kind of reminds you why you play Telltale games.
Oh my god!
Then like during the course of that episode, it's like it's good. It does like good Telltale stuff, and then ends brilliantly. Like the first two, I've played the first two episodes of Game of Thrones, and they are probably better than The Walking Dead season 2.
What? Oh my god! Right.
Like I think Walking Dead season 1 is still the best they've done. Then it's The Wolf Among Us, Game of Thrones, and Walking Dead season 2. That's the order I'd rate them just now. Like Tales of the Borderlands get me getting a lot of praise though. So
yeah, I would say, like personally, I think this is going to be controversial, but I prefer The Wolf Among Us to the Walking Dead series. It's just more up my street. Although I am a big fan of the Walking Dead comic, like I have read quite a lot of them, so not so much the TV show. The TV show got shit in season 2, but I have a kind of base grounding in both series and both continuity, but I just prefer the Wolf Among Us stuff. It's just more personable to me. Although, as you said, like the relationship with Lee and Clem is the kind of foundation of this first season, which from what you guys are saying is lacking in the second season. But I would never expect that to continue because of what happens, and why would they replicate that twice? But The Wolf Among Us is just more up my street, and the kind of translation from page to game of the kind of integrity of the characters is so well done that it's so nice to see. You can like like any medium, when you've got something that's beloved that gets adapted to maybe like a television show or a movie or a game, you're very protective of your characters, and I think that Telltale have done a fantastic job with The Wolf Among Us especially. Just the characters are great and really, really true to what they were in the comics.
They're good. Like my one thing with Telltale is I kind of wish they would make their games look a bit prettier, which is like an absolutely superficial point. But like when we were talking about like our kind of preferences and our kind of background with games and stuff, I've always been someone who, like, graphics aren't like the be all and end all, but they certainly help a lot. If a game looks good, then I'm more inclined to have a good time playing it.
Yeah.
Don't know if you guys are like
especially with games, like I'm very much like that in the comic sense. Like if I don't like the artwork, I won't read it, and that's really, really bad. But especially because of the games that we play them for so long, you want something pretty to look at, and you want, like, unless with exceptions, but if you're not, you're going to spend like maybe 40 hours with this piece of medium, like you want to have something nice to look at. So I completely agree with you, Paco, that it has to look relatively appealing, not necessarily pretty, but there has to be something that it grabs me and keeps me interested visually in order to engage in the actual narrative of the game.
Telltale could be doing with an overhaul. I think like it just look all their games look the same to me. Like they all look the kind of really. It just looks like they've been done over the course of a weekend. I think it's like I'm not saying they have been. I just think,
What would you say was the prettiest game that you played? Like prettiest graphically and like art style wise, what would be the two games that you would say, like for graphics and then art style was your favourite?
So I'm entirely biased towards Metal Gear though. That's the thing. Because Ground Zeroes does look amazing, and Phantom Pain looks amazing. Looks good, like stylistically, like a kind of decent segue, I suppose. Today I played Sunset Overdrive for the first time.
Yeah.
That is a fucking pretty game.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like every now and again in a game, like Little Big Planet had this a few times. You see an item in the game, and it looks like a real life item. Like obviously, this tends to happen more with things that aren't like humans or real life animals. Like in Little Big Planet, it was like things like plastic bottles or like stuff like that. Like anything that was kind of made out of plastic, it looked like real plastic in Little Big Planet.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
I feel like the thimbles and stuff like that in Little Big Planet always looked really real, like shiny, and it was so cool. Like the fabrics, you just wanted to reach out and like poke your sack boy. I thought that was really, really well done.
Sunset Overdrive is kind of the same as that. Like the clothing on the guy looks amazing. Like it looks like actual cloth. But like more than that, I was really impressed with the design of the OD, the actual guys you're fighting. Like it really is. It's one thing to watch a YouTube video and see it play, and another thing to have it uncompressed on your TV. Because the textures of those things, like the blisters on them, look like you could pop them. And that's a weird thing to say. It's fucking disgusting, but it's supposed to be disgusting. It works. It looks great. It looks fantastic.
It's so bright and colourful as well. And, like so many games nowadays just go for that kind of gritty realism, but like this is just like so many primary colours like on the screen.
Yeah,
it's just something different.
It's like have you ever you've been an Xbox guy, so I would imagine you've never played the Infamous games.
No.
This feels like a kind of a cartoon. I mean, Infamous was already a kind of comic book thing, but this feels like a more fun version of Infamous.
So it seemed more like the Saturday morning cartoon version of Infamous then?
Yeah, it's like Infamous takes itself seriously. It's like that, the open playland, and like he's a really kind of brooding kind of superhero guy. Like, well, he might become evil, depends what you play like, that sort of thing. But like, it's essentially still a third-person shooter. Like Infamous and Sunset Overdrive are both the same that way. Like Infamous, like you aim and then fire lightning out your hands, and this like you're shooting vinyls or whatever. They both play amazingly similarly, but Sunset Overdrive's just that more vibrant. It's just got like a lot more pop to it.
Yeah, like up until I actually sat down and controlled Sunset Overdrive, I was not sold on it. I was like, I don't get it. But as soon as I started playing it, like it kind of clicked, and like I really love it now.
That like the gameplay is good, but like I don't like the setup so much. Like they break the fourth wall constantly in a way that I just don't. I don't know.
Like how far into are you? Because that stuff is a bit grating to begin with, but it kind of gets a bit more. They calm down a bit on that as it goes into the game.
Which is good to hear, because like that does get a bit much. Like even just the way it starts, it just chucks you right in. It kind of breaks the fourth wall instantly. It's just kind of weird. Using a lot of kind of all the kind of tropes and stuff, like the disembodied voice in the tutorial, but like the character acknowledges that there's a disembodied voice telling them.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I'll definitely play it more.
I think the character customization in it is also really, really, really fun. Like just stupid items of clothing they give you to wear. You can make yourself like. I think last I played it, I was like a zombie cheerleader with like a rubber floaty ring. That was fun.
I intentionally I knew that the game was going to be crazy, so I intentionally made my character as boring as possible because I was. I was like, this game's going to go out its way to be wacky and zany and like everything that Sonic the Hedgehog wanted to be in the 90s. And I was like, I need to ground it a bit. So my guy's he's a normal guy. He's got like.
That's just square, Paco, man. Seriously.
If he could be fat, I would have made me. If I could made him fat, I would have put me in it.
I think that'll change once you unlock some of the more fun items.
I did. I'll admit I did try on a wolf's head for a while, just to see what that would be like.
So, like, how far into are you?
Not far. I've done 5 main missions and 1 quest. So.
Are you just working? Are you working for the kind of Boy Scouts there at the moment?
Like it starts off and like you're with an old dude Walter. Like there's not really mentioned factions. But they're like.
Oh, okay.
You go to a training yard and you meet like a bunch of students. I can't remember what they're called.
Right. Yeah. They're like the kind of the preppies, like the college kids.
Yeah. I'll play more of it, but like I don't know how quickly I'll go back to it because I've got a few other games that I'd rather sink more time into than that just now. How are we doing? Like, do you want me just to read games that I've been playing, or will you save them for another time, or what?
I mean, it's an hour and a half, so you might want to save them for an hour time.
I'll mention. Can I do one? Can I talk about one?
Cool. Before we move on, I just want to say, Laura, to your question, technical best looking game, that UFC game I played this year, that looked like shockingly realistic. Artistically, Jet Set Radio Future.
Oh.
For me, for my art design, it was a big kind of throw up between Journey, Okami, like I love Okami, and Twilight Princess, like Zelda Twilight Princess. When I got that for the Wii, I was like, wow, that art style is so cool. And technically, like looking, the big one for me was like Grand Theft Auto 5. Like I was not expecting that to look as good. Because I played it on, I got the demo for the PS4. I played it on the PS3, and I was like, this looks good. And then I got the PS4 version, and I was like, wow, guys, you upped the game here.
Yeah, just like the kind of environmental stuff, like the nature stuff looks great in that game.
It's crazy. Like I haven't even finished the story because I got bored of it, but just the environment and even the trees and the grass was so well done. The animals and even just driving about and like as you said, like the draw distance and the pop-up textures, it just instantly it would do it. A game that I was a bit disappointed with the textures and kind of pop-ins was BioShock Infinite. Was really, really poor.
I think that was pushing the limits of the system at that point.
Yeah, I think it was, and
the art style for that I thought was great. Like
yeah,
the art style was fantastic, but the technical aspect of it was just like really, really kind of shoddy. I felt.
Yeah, I would like it if they brought that out in the new consoles because I'd like a full HD upraised version of that.
I liked it the way it was, man. Like, it was weird that for such a grim game to have that kind of soft and cartoony, like, drawn look to it. Like, at no point does Elizabeth look like a real person. She looks like a cartoon.
Yeah, like the idea was to have it be like you're going to start in Disneyland and then like watch Disneyland get totally shreds.
Yeah, that happens. She's totally a Disney princess. Well, at the start, I suppose she's more like a modern Disney princess now, where she doesn't need saving; she does the saving towards the end. Man, that game was good as well. That was a really good game. That did look good as well. I didn't really answer what my favourite artistic style one is, did I? Just kind of segued into Sunset Overdrive. Oh Christ, my mind went blank. No answer for that one.
No answer. Well.
Okay, well, what was the other game you wanted to talk about?
Resident Evil Revelations 2.
Oh, they finally downloaded. Okay. Tell us about it, Paco. I don't know anything about this. Tell us what's it about. What's happening?
You guys generally like Resident Evil games?
Yeah, I didn't like 5 that much, and I didn't play 6. But yeah, 1, 2, and 4. Didn't really think 3 was all that good, but 2 is like one of my favourite games ever.
Did you play Resident Evil Revelations?
No, because it came out just as like a DS game, didn't it? And then it got ported to the old system, so I just missed the boat on it.
Right. What about yourself, Laura?
I've only really played Resi 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I played a bit of 5. Was like alright, and then 6 was just I was not interested. But I have played a couple of the rail shooter ones, which are bad. So just like number 4 is my favourite, even though you have to escort
Ashley.
Yeah, you need to escort Ashley everywhere, and it's just unless you give her the armor, but you need to complete the game and stuff. It's a nightmare. But 4 is my favourite so far.
See, like, I was always a bigger fan of the earlier Resident Evils where it was actually survival horror and not so much when it was action.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Yeah.
Resident Evil Revelations was a kind of weird callback to that. Like, it was more like Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 than it was 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
It's got like actiony parts to it, but it's much more like a kind of, you've got this enclosed area and you can only get into certain parts of it at certain times. You need to kind of explore and unlock keys and fight the bosses. It's a lot harder. It's, every bullet counts kind of thing.
Mm.
Resident Evil Revelations 2, it's kind of the same as that as well. At one point I ran out of ammo and had to only use the knife, which was pretty fucking tough going. Like, I find it really weird. Like, the first Revelations was a 3DS game, as Alan said there. But this one has been specifically made for consoles, so it doesn't have the excuse of having all the low res texture stuff, from a handheld. But it's still got them. It still feels like it was made for a handheld system. Like, even the way it aims, like the cursor and stuff, looks like you should have. You get a distinct impression that they wanted you to aim using a stylus. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's more like a kind of crosshair kind of thing.
It's kind of really floaty. Like, it doesn't work too well. The game itself is quite enjoyable. Like, it feels like it was rushed. It feels like an early access game at that, because at certain points in the menu, it's like, oh, this feature will come with a title update, we promise. Right now, you can't do matchmaking co-op, but it's like, oh, we'll add it. We are going to add it. So this is a game that's on sale. It's like it's been released, or the first part of it has at least, and it still isn't finished, which is kind of odd. But I played. It took me about 2.5 hours to finish the entire episode, and I ended up playing through it again today before we started this, just because I was enjoying it so much and kind of wanted to muck about in it. Are you guys likely to buy this, or?
Nah.
Probably not. No, I'm kind of giving up on Resi.
Fair enough.
Yeah, until they reboot it, I'm out of it.
I've got a soft spot for Resident Evil. Like, I think I always will do. But I'm looking forward to the next episodes of this. Like, it seems really enjoyable. Like, it seems like they've gone off the deep end with the narrative, though. Like, somebody has clearly watched the Saw movies and decided that there needs to be an element of that in it. Because, like, the start of the game, you get kidnapped and taken to a kind of a weird island, and then when you wake up, you've got like a bracelet on your wrist that's got like an LED light in it, so it measures your fear. So if it's green, you're not afraid. If it's yellow, you're anxious. If it's red, you're afraid. And if it's flashing red, then apparently you're about to mutate. So, like, it's just odd.
What are you going to mute into?
Everyone else you meet has these bracelets, and like a woman talks to you through the bracelet and tells you to do things, and like she's clearly not a good person. Like, she's put you in this situation, so like it's got that kind of Saw, well, more like Saw 2, like kind of rats in a trap feel about it.
Mm.
It's kind of odd. But
Why are you mutating? Like, what do you mutate into a zombie, or what?
I happened in the game so far. Like I don't think it's going to be a game mechanic as much as it's going to be a narrative thing. So like from the next week on Resident Evil Revelations 2, but like Claire mentions that we've been infected with something, and like you see like a bracelet flashing and stuff. So like I'm guessing it's like a scripted event where somebody's going to end up turning and you'll have to kill them.
Okay.
It's an interesting setup.
Claire Redfield's good. I'm glad that she's the main character again. I like Claire.
I mean, in the past, like last year was a good year for having female protagonists. Sorry, I should have put that in silent. Yeah, last year there was a fair few female protagonists in games, and it's good to see this one again, not just having one strong female lead in it, but like three. You know, it's like Claire and Barry Burton's daughter Moira are kind of both very capable. Like, at no point do they cower and act like a cliched horror kind of damsel. And then on top of that, like when you play as Barry, he's teamed up with literally a little girl, like not Ellie. Like they've absolutely ripped off The Last of Us a bit though, because Barry looks so much like Joel with his backpack and the way he goes about, just kind of grunts when he moves and all that stuff. But yeah, like the little girl is like mega young and like the picture of innocence kind of thing until she gets a brick in her hand and just starts heads in with bricks. Again, very Last of Us-esque. But the only other thing I'd kind of mention about it that I think is kind of odd is it becomes very self-deprecating and self-referential. Like the dialogue from Resident Evil 1 has became like a widespread joke through the gaming community about the whole Jill sandwich stuff and all that.
Master of unlocking.
Yeah.
In Resident Evil Revelations 2, Claire jokes about Barry saying the Jill sandwich line, and they're like, oh, fucking Barry has told everybody that story, you know, what a dick. And then later on, Barry uses a log to break open a door and then says, who's the master at unlocking now? Comedic, self-referential, but like referencing that joke from real life, it's kind of odd. You aren't going to play it, so I won't even the next episodes that come out in the next couple of weeks.
Are you enjoying it though?
I'm enjoying it. Like I do want the next one, and the raid mode stuff in it seems like it's kind of got enough there to kind of keep me coming back. It could do with being polished up though. Like a lot of it just feels really kind of haphazardly flung together.
I wonder if that's just a byproduct of being that episodic thing. Because the other game you said that about is the Telltale games, which are also episodic.
Yeah, maybe. Like this, it's also concerning that there are only 4 episodes in total scheduled for this. Like they've got like 2 bonus episodes as well. But like my first playthrough, I finished both parts of this in about 2.5 hours. So like, I suppose that's a decent length for a game, right? It's going to work out about 10 hours.
Yeah, I guess so.
It seems kind of short
Not too bad.
compared to other Resident Evil games. It seems kind of short. So you're now also looking knackered, Alan.
No, not at all. No, I'm good to go.
It has run over an hour and a half though, so should we call it that?
I think I think it's a good place to end it.
Right. So that was our first episode of Digital Soup. Possibly changing the name, who knows? I like it.
I like it.
Laura, do you think it's a good name?
I like it. It's certainly delicious.
There we
It's
go.
a product that we serve in the kitchen. The Raptors
Exactly.
are making the soup.
There you go. So if you're watching this and you don't know,
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention any of that stuff, didn't we?
we also have a movie podcast called Raptors in the Kitchen. I'm a lot more useless than that. Like I play video games too much to really devote as much time as these guys do to watching movies. So this is me making up for that, I feel. Silence all round. Yeah, so
You're good. You're a good host.
we have been Digital Raptors in the Soupy Kitchen. Don't know what to do with my hand. So you can find Raptors in the Kitchen on Facebook. I'm sure we'll make that stuff up for Facebook groups and all and what have you, the internet stuff.
Well,
Right.
I mean, this video will be posted under the Raptors in the Kitchen YouTube channel, so
We
you can't avoid it.
make sure to grab Digital Soup though if we can.
Yeah, let's ladle that shit up.
Indeed.
I have a feeling it's already taken.
We'll find something else.
Yeah. Bastards. We can just harass the person who has the Digital Soup email and just make them give us it. How does that sound?
Yeah, that's how the internet works, right?
Yeah, I think that sounds legit. You know,
Just give out their private details over Twitter, and then they'll be forced to.
there we go. Yeah, blackmailing and stuff. Who knows? So like, uncertain just now if we're going to do this every week.
I don't know. Oh, I can't speak for you because you probably do, but I don't think like me and Laura play enough new games on a weekly basis to do a weekly thing.
Yeah.
Right. But like, yeah, this like I feel this has been a good episode, and certainly won't be the last as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, yeah.
I look forward to seeing you guys again. I don't know how to end this. This has just gone mega awkward.
Yeah, this is the worst part. Ending a podcast is terrible.
Hit it.
Hit the stop button. Okay, we're ending it. Thanks, Paco.